Hola, Jefa Talk. Welcome back. So today we have a special guest. We have the founder of the Law Foundation, and I'm super excited to have him on because I truly am inspired by his mission and his story, and I can't wait to share that with you guys. So, Chris, can you kind of give us a little background about you and how you got started?
Yes. So a little bit of background about me is my journey. My journey began back in '08 when I was 16 years old. I was hanging around the wrong individuals, being misled due to lack of guidance and mentorships, due to the lack of fatherhood. My father was absent because he was incarcerated. It's a generational curse in my family that's been going on. My father's father was incarcerated. It's just a cycle. So I end up, finding myself in that cycle as well. And I ended up getting incarcerated. And I was sentenced to 14 years at a young age. And first time ever in trouble, first time ever doing anything wrong in my life. And I was sentenced to 14. And out of these 14 years, I ended up doing 12 years incarcerated. I ended up coming home in 2020. But when I was incarcerated, I did 8 in isolation. Just me alone. Sometimes I have a cellie or whatever. But that time of my life, right there, those years is where I could say I tapped into my inner self because I got to know myself. So I started, creating productive habits. I started reading. I started writing. I started working out. During that process, this vision came to me. I was done with this beautiful vision that I am now pursuing. And just, I started writing, I just getting in tune with myself, started getting big visions and dreams and had ambitions and tapped into my inner greatness. So when I came home, due to all the energy that I invested into my future, life manifested real beautiful for me. It didn't take that long. I was home and I was being mentored by the city of San Antonio, Stand Up SA. It's a violence prevention program. And they would come to me, give me resources. They helped me get my driver license. They would come and check on me because they understand the importance of how people being released are for overwhelmed. They lack resources. So I'm glad that I came across them in my journey. And during these mentorships and during this bond with them, an opportunity came up as in me wanting to be on the opposite side as being a mentor myself. So I was really blessed with the opportunity, and I found myself working for the Metropolitan Health District within months of being home. And it's amazing because, I used to visualize this. I used to visualize me doing community work. I used to visualize me wanting to be a mentor and counsel people and stuff and give resources and just be an impact to others. And it manifested, and since I was working for the city, many doors have opened, opportunities. I end up on, 14 billboards across the city via buses, met so much people. And life just been so beautiful. I can't complain. I'm grateful. I've established myself quick. Like within 9 months of being home, I got my first vehicle, learned how to drive. I never drove before. I had a job. I started my own business. I became a certified teeth whitener. Started working for a nonprofit, doing a health and wellness instructor. And now I find myself here being the CEO of the L.A.W Foundation, trying to make an impact for the youth.
That's so amazing. I definitely want to go back a little bit and 8 years in solitary is a long time. Kind of walk me through how you processed time alone. What
Mm.
was it like to be, alone and really what it was like day to day routine for you, pretty much.
Okay. So the people, like, you got to understand, like, we as humans, we adapt and we adjust to our conditions. And me just accepting that, me accepting my reality for what it is and not what I wanted to be is what brought peace upon me. And at first, during my trial, I was still being lost and being mentored by the wrong individuals. So I found myself being a victim, of the system, still doing wrong, still wanting to be prideful, still wanted to have that reputation of being that, that necio. So I end up, putting myself alone, because of my disciplinary actions, they put me alone in a cell. And, at the time I didn't have that growth mindset, and it took my neighbor, one day I was just staring at the ceiling, just bored, I used to never do nothing with my time, just gossip and argue and fight, just that all that negativity. I didn't know what to do with my time. So, it took my neighbor to tap onto my wall, telling me, "Hey, what you got going on over there?" And I was like, "Nothing, just staring at the wall, being bored, waiting for this child to come, like, And he's all like, "You don't be doing no reading, like you don't be expanding your mind, like you don't like the time is supposed to be invested and not waste. You're wasting your time. Like you're supposed to capitalize on this experience that you're going to your life." And it was him that planted that growth mindset into me. And it was just, it was just all universal, because right after that conversation, a book, out of nowhere just dropped from the heavens. It was like, 'cause we lived in four tiers, and I was on the first floor, and the book came down all the way down. Someone throwing the book away, because you throw your trash over the run, right? And they'll come and sweep it up. And right in front of my cell just landed their book. Boom. I'm like, what? And I'm like, I have no books in my cell, no nothing. It was just me and my pictures and stuff. And so I'm like, man, let me really read this book. And so I reeled it in and stuff. And the first book I ever read was The Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. And basically, it's a book that you read, every day for the next 40 days of it, your life, and it teaches you different principles. And once I started reading it, and it just like, out of just my mind was just got this instant hunger for knowledge, like, oh, so I started reading. I asked my neighbor, "Hey, you got some books?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And all he was reading was self-help books. So I'm glad that I came across that. So, he gave me a self-help book, So I'm started reading them, and it was just a thirst and a hunger for wisdom and knowledge. So there I am asking everybody for books. Hey, y'all got books? All I want to read is self help. I don't want to read no fantasy book. I don't want to read nothing. I don't want to read no urban book. I just want to read self help book. So I have all these books in my cell, about like 10, 15 books in my cell, just stacked up. And that's what I'll do. So at the time, I'll read 8 books, right? And I'll have them at the end of my bunk. I would try to read a chapter every hour on the hour, a chapter each book, just different topics, and I started just reading. That's how I passed my time, is reading. And then I got into taking notes. I started highlighting my books. I started taking notes in my books. I started actually digesting the knowledge that I was reading instead of just reading. And when I was reading, I came across, I got inspired by a Tupac book called The Rose That Grew from Concrete, which is a book that he wrote in the penitentiary of his poetry. And, I read the book and I put the book down, and I was just inspired, because I was like, you know what? I want to write some poetry. Let me see. So I started writing poetry, and I started writing poetry. Then I started writing philosophy, and I was like, I want to be a philosopher. So there I go, deep, looking deep within myself. And that's what I find myself isolating myself for real, because once I realized my gift was I was a writer. The whole time I was a writer, but matter of fact, I created myself to become a writer, and a poetic philosopher at that. And I would get my sheet, and I would cover my front of my cell. So I wasn't looking out, to the bars or nothing like that. I was basically just isolated in my own cell, and I can't see what's going on, and I would put them earplugs in my ear, so I couldn't hear nobody. So it's basically just me and my inner self listening to my inner thoughts. And it was just so beautiful, because I felt at that moment that I was so tuned in that I was just listening and recording. Like I was listening to divine thoughts, and I was writing and just leaking out my soul. And I ended up writing 3 books at that period of my time, just writing books, writing my thoughts, and that's how I cope with my time. Just read, write, work out, read, write, work out. It's just habits. That's the importance of them habits. And it became addicted in, you know, there came productive habits where if I wouldn't do it, I'll feel misfunction. If I didn't read a book, I had to get up and read a chapter before I slept comfortably. My mind wouldn't let me. It was always racing. If I didn't meditate, if I didn't do yoga, my body, you know, it felt tensed up. So that's the importance of just, you know, constantly doing something repetitive. You become addicted to it in a good way, you know. And so for years, I was just repeating the same cycle. And everybody see it seemed the same, but at the same time, I was expanding, I was evolving, I was growing, you know, within and without, you know, physically as well. And but then I could say though that at that period of time is like at the end when I realized who I was, I became depressed because I knew I was great. Like, you know, I knew I was great, and I was trapped in this, you know, in this limited world, you know, and it was like an elephant trying to come out the doggy door. You know, so much I want to do, but this world was limited to my greatness. So I would just pace around the cell, you know, rehearsing. You know, I used to visualize myself doing motivational speaks, inspiring speaking, reading my words. And I was very in tune with my imagination. That's how I escaped my dreadful reality, was through my imagination throughout all those years. And, you know, and I'm glad that I went through there because I am who I am now because of that situation in my life, for sure.
That's so great. I think with you said being able to finally figure out that you do have this greatness, right? And being in this limited world, it must have been really hard because of course by that time you've expanded, you've grown and you just are like ready to be out. How did you navigate through those feelings of like, I'm ready to go home? Like, I wanna go home and I don't wanna be here, but of course you're limited. Like, what kind of self-talk did you give yourself to kind of pass that moment?
I could say I always remember this moment, right, when I knew for sure that I was great, you know, because when I came out of the isolation period, I was, you know, we are chilling in a dorm, and everybody was just, you know, talking, you know, passing time, and everybody's like, when I get home, man, I'm finna, you know, turn up. I'm finna start selling drugs again. And then another dude, yeah, I'm finna go rob, or another dude like, yeah, I'm finna just go work at a warehouse, or just simple stuff. And then when it came around to me, like, what you finna do? And just me naturally, without knowing, unconsciously, I said, I'm gonna change the humanity. And when I said that, like, I just my goosebumps, my whole soul just jumped inside my body, like, you know, and it felt like, and I got up and I'm like, man, and everybody looked at me, you know, they like disbelief, like, but that's those little minds, you know, those are the little minds that can't understand the big minds. So, you know, so I knew at that moment that I was great. And since then it was like, you know what, I'm gonna get home. I want to go home, man. I don't want to get involved with none of this stuff. So even though I was in population, I would still isolate myself. You know, I was still in that cell. I wasn't going watching that TV in the day room playing dominoes. I wasn't wasting no time because I knew the importance of what time is. So, you know, it's all about investing. It was all about growth and development from now on, because that was my mindset. And your life is determined on your mindset. So my whole perception changed. It was like, you know, I was not in a penitentiary. I was in a university. You know, I was self-taught. You know, I started mingling and talking to other individuals that was implanted with the growth mindset. And just being involved with those people was elevating my frequency. And it's amazing because I made parole still in medium custody, which is rare, which is still coming up from the levels of, you know, being where I was. It was from there to this, and it was going to be regular where everybody could go out to the chow hall. So I made parole, you know, to listen, you know, out of nowhere, because COVID at the time, it was COVID too. And I was, whoo, man, we did 95 days in our cell, just eating sandwiches because of COVID. You know, as soon as somebody got infected, you know, came out negative or positive, we'll shut down the whole unit. So, you know, I was going through it, but like I just knew I was gonna come home. You know, it was, you know, it becomes your reality. So I just felt it. I was like, man, I'm great. You know, I tapped in. I got everything I need to get out of this experience. And self talk is the best talk, you know. And I was just constantly telling myself, man, you're great. and you finna make a change. You finna be a motivational speaker. I am a motivational speaker. And throughout my whole cell, I written all over my cell. Like, I with pen, I was writing all over my wall. It was like a sheet of paper. Of course I would get in trouble if they see me, but like I had words, I had wise quotes on my wall, just constantly affirmation, constantly reminding me. And so once I became free within, I had that freedom within. It had no choice but to, manifest outward, and I was released. And I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. So
I love hearing you talk about, a lot of things that were positive in there for you because instantly, for those that don't know or have never done time, you instantly think like it's a horrible place, like you're just gonna be on edge all the time. But you were able to find not only a tribe that helped you grow mentally, but also spiritually. So that's awesome to hear. Now, how do you kind of deal with the narrative of like, now that you're out, of course, when you tell people your story, instantly, I'm sure there's some people that are a little like, well, he did time, he's a criminal, this and that. How do you navigate through that and kind of try to show like, no, there's still beautiful people that have done time, that have made mistakes?
and honestly, that's one of the core reasons of why I strive every day, because I want to be that example. I want to be the example that the struggle does bring greatness, that there are beautiful souls. There's beautiful that's went through it to find who they are, to find their gifts and their purpose. And I want to give that concrete hope back to my people that's locked up. Because the hope we use and it will lose. We'll lose it. And I just want to let them know, like, hey, if I'm doing it, you're doing it. I was the worst of the worst. I was doing all the wrong, until I manipulated my experience for the betterment. And that's when I want to enforce that no matter where you're at in life, if you just have, perception is everything, no matter where you're at, as long as you alternate your perception for the betterment, opportunities and it will unfold for you the betterment. Like life always works. That's why I came up with that, because perception is everything. And so I'm like, I like to be the wise one. Like I like to show people instead of telling them. Like I want to, people will never understand. Like people see me and see my successes and my accomplishments, and it's amazing when I tell them like I was incarcerated for 12 years. Like, nah, you weren't incarcerated. Like, I'm like, yeah, it's like, and I'm honored for that. I was honored that I was incarcerated at a young age. Like because I found me. Like, I found this gift. I am who I am because of that. And it's not just me, and it's a whole bunch of people. There's a whole bunch of people that go in there and tap in, and come out a whole nother version of themselves. And now that I'm witnessing and now that I'm out here, it's a community of us that's now entrepreneurs and business owners, and because we all got that strive, that ambition, because we no longer want to be where we're at. And we're breaking them generational curses. So yeah, we just be the wise one, just show people, instead of telling them, be that example, for sure.
I love that answer. Now, you coming out, of course, you came out with the vision and you put it into work. So tell me a little bit about your nonprofit and its mission.
Okay, so my nonprofit is the Law Foundation. The acronym for law is Life Always Works. So our mission is to awaken the conscience of the youth. We want to teach them how to create them productive habits, like how I was in that mind, body, and spirit. And that's how I came up with this vision, because I was like, I broke the generational curse. I knew I'm great. I want to give this, this formula, to the youth or to those that are in my position, out there, and that's the only way to do it is by growing. So we want to teach them how to grow within their mind, body, and spirit, create the productive habits. We want to teach them financial literacy classes, as well as lightening them about the laws of the universe. Because at a period of my time, for some years, I got in so I'm gonna say addictive to understanding how this life operates, and I started getting real tuned with understanding the laws of the universe, and they work. to me because, and it's your belief. That's the reason why they work. I want to enforce that as well. And so yeah, I started implying these mental principles in my life while being incarcerated, and my life was changing while in there. And so yes, so we want to teach them the laws of the universe, and at the same time, like I was saying, it's a group of us that come out and are tapped in our business and entrepreneurs and want to give back to the community and want to break generational curses. And I'm so glad that I have a team full of them. I have a team full of people that just want to inspire and enrich the youth. They want to yield them from going the route that we once lived. So yeah, the Law Foundation, we here, we're trying to break them generational curses. Our intentions is to change the humanity because we think big over here. And yeah, man, that's what it is. The Law Foundation, life always works.
I love that. I love that acronym. Now, of course, you guys are just starting off, but so far, what has been the most challenging for you guys, and how have you guys overcame it?
Hmm. I could say the most challenging right now is just getting sculpture, getting structure, getting organized because I have this vision, and at the time that's what took me, that's what fear holds me back because I don't have the knowledge of everything I need to know. Yes, I read books, yes, I read videos and stuff. I mean, I seen videos and stuff, but the most difficult part about it is just getting the inner substance, like getting what's needed to get. So in the future, I don't have to come back and clean it up or get in trouble or something that I didn't do that I was supposed to do. So, but at this time though, like how life always works, when I took this leap, all the people just out of nowhere just want to come and help me, so it makes my journey less, so it's not really of a challenge that I'm going through because people are here to help me, people here want to guide me, people here want to mentor me, and out the blue, and so it's not a challenge, but it's more of a we're impatient with it because we all want to crank up already. Like, come on, let's get to it. Because we all got our curriculums, we all got we got our courses, we got our mentors. We ready, we ready to serve the community. We ready to change some lives. We ready to change the mindsets, and we ready to break generational curses. Sure.
I'm so excited to see everything unfold for you guys.
Yes.
Now, what are some of, I guess, if there's a specific story that you could share with us, um, directly, like, how can I say this? Is there a story that you guys can share from one of your youth that you have already impacted already with your nonprofit?
Yes, yes, for sure. So we when we first started, right? We just jumped out there. We jumped out there with faith, and we just made a video expressing the mission, and so we expressed the mission, and constantly, like luckily one of our social media's managers, she's TikTok famous, so she has a lot of followers. So and she was the creator of a Prison Wives, and it's all connected. So her crowd is all into formerly incarcerated, and constantly emails, messages, coming in. That shows that this organization is well needed, and majority of them were single mothers. Majority of single mothers were out, reaching for help about their youth heading in the wrong directions. They've seen their actions; they're misbehaving, so we're like, we don't have an exact location, right? So we're like, what? We're doing house visits. So let's go do a house visit. So we they reached out to us, and we clicked on the emails and we got a hold of them. And we're like, hey, we're on our way. So we went. He was 18 on house arrest. Constantly arguing with his mother and stuff, and into gangs already. Just being misled. He was lacking his father as well, and we went there, and I just seen myself in him. I seen myself in him, and I don't like. I gave it to him. like, and I let him know like the consequences of decisions. I let him know we was there, we was once there. I was once wearing that polo shirt with the fade, with the jewels. Like I was once doing all that, like, all that little swag, the little trend that you're going through. I just let him know, like, it's just a cycle, it's just a phase, and you could outgrow that phase quickly, with correct mentorships and stuff. And so, we sat down with him and he was basically like, just his eyes, just looking to us, he started tearing up like, man, well, no one, people give up on me. People want to help me, but they give up on me. And I told him, well, people, have they been where we've been? Like, have they been where you've been? Like, have they lived what you're living? Because I lived what you're living. Like, I used to be on house arrest. Like my right here, one of my mentors was on house arrest, cut his bracelet off, ended up doing years in prison. Like, had they been there? And he's like, no, well, that's the difference because we're doing this out of compassion and understanding, and not a paycheck, but a payback, and so yeah, he wanted to do a merch. He wanted to do merch. He's all like, well, we tapped in like, what is your gifts? What's it that you want to do? He's like, well, I want to cut hair, I'm an artist and stuff. Ooh, and I started, hey, you want to cut hair? One of my mentors, as well as my board member, he owns 4 barber shops. And we're like, you know what? Which is a blessing that he's going to contribute one of his shops into a training facility where we could certify the youth at the age of 16, and they could be on the way to making 6 figures a year being a barber, you know? And so we connected with him. But so he's not going to start going into school until after he finishes this year of school. But we got lined it up. We lined him up, and he's very excited. He wanted to do merch. I'm so glad that I knew somebody that was into merch, and we connected him with them, and so on. And it's a blessing, just and to this day, he actually called me a couple of days ago. He found himself in a situation with the cops, were at his house and stuff, and he got into arguing with his mom, and the cops called. She called the cops, and I feel so honored because out of everybody in his contacts, he called me. He called me to calm him down. He called me for my advice, and it was just a blessing to be that role model, to be that person because he didn't have no one to call. He had no one that went through what he's going through. He texts me and tells me, hey, bro, what does this mean? Like, does this mean I gotta take a piss test? Just walking him through what he's going through. Like, hey, bro, you think they'll let me out? What should I do? Just giving him that positive advice that he needs to hear, not wants to hear, and giving him the truth. And we built a strong connection. Every other week we go chill with him. Just go chill with him in his room, on his bed, just topping it up with him, just tell him how his day. And we got so cool. We built so much a connection. Like he calls me big bro. I call him little bro. And once he gets off the house arrest, we plan on doing some things. Coming to the chop, chilling with us, just building that connection, being that positive example of a role model of I went through it, now I'm here doing this. And we want to create mentors, make mentees to mentors so they can mentor others. So that's one of our success stories. He's on a good route, he's doing good in school. He's so anxious to start his barber school. And, he's steady doing his artwork and just, step by step, for sure.
I think that's so wonderful and so, impactful and so fulfilling to be able to be that beam of light for somebody else, right? Um, Now, because you also didn't have guidance when you were younger, do you ever find yourself in the situation where you kind of reflect and wish you were back in front of your young self? Like, what do you tell yourself in those moments?
You said if I wasn't, what do I tell my young self when I go through it, when I'm going through some difficulties, or what you mean?
Whenever, of course, whenever you're with your youth, because they do remind you of you,
Yes,
whenever you kind of reflect back, what do you tell yourself if you could have gone back?
if I could have gone back, um, it's difficult because like I'm so grateful for the journey. Like I'm so blessed for the journey because I wouldn't want to change nothing that I went through in life. Like like I can't tell myself, it was just my mother and us four, and it's like I said, I started hanging with the wrong people. I could tell myself, like, company is very important. If you want to see who you are, just look around. Look who you're hanging around with. And I wish I would have told myself that, like, look around, man. Like, you see that dude is doing, your group was nothing but doing, selling. I used to do house parties. I used to like do host house parties, ranch parties, and charge people to come in and, kegs and stuff. So that was my little gig. I was like a little host back in the day and get extra money. Then I started doing the extra stuff. But if I could just tell myself, like, watch who you hang with, like you should never have hung with them. But like I said, like it was older people, so I felt that, that voidness was filled because I was lacking that father. I was lacking them guidance and that mentorships, and I was just being like clay. I was being molded the way they wanted me to be. Because I was so intrigued of being around grown people, like doing the things I was doing because I didn't have to do what I was doing. My mother raised us. We had a stable home. Like, we was going to school. I was barely in ninth grade. Like my mama was driving me everywhere. Like, I didn't have no need. Like, and so the extra, it was all extra. But it was just until I got involved with the wrong people that, I wanted to be grown at a young age. And that's why I would have told myself if I would reflect, just watch your company, you know, for sure.
Now, of course, with the journey and the experiences that you have, is there somebody specific in your life that you look up to that you would want to highlight in your life?
Yes, of course. I will always highlight this man, and I talk about him all the time. But one of my mentors, he's still incarcerated, and he calls me daily. He checks on me. He's the one that puts me back on my path if I steer off. He's the one that reminds me of the mission. He's the one that reminds me of how great I am. He reminds me how far I've come, and he's my Yoda. He constantly, he's the one that planted that growth mindset in me, and he's already gone. He's been gone since TYC, since a young age. So he's been incarcerated for like 14 years already, and he's going to be home next year. And he's a very important factor in my journey because he guided me. He's the one that gave me, he's the one that used to sit down with me and talk with me, that intelligent talk. And he's the one that used to call me, let's go to the rec yard and work out, like reminding me constantly, like this is a lifestyle. And I will always highlight him because very important of the way I am was it's because of him. His name is Aaron Davila, and soon he'll be home. And I feel like right now that I'm just clearing the path for him because this dude is gonna be great. And I always tell people, like, if you think I'm great, wait till you meet this dude. Like, this dude is for real great. Like, he just talks great. He thinks great. And he's just full of energy, high vibration person. And he's very addicting. Like, people like to chill with him. And that's how I feel like I'm just clearing the path for him. So once I get this structure and stabilized, he'll come home and find himself straight in the position with the Law Foundation and change his humanity. Because he was there when I was talking about the law, and now that I'm doing it, he's exciting. I was on the tablet in the penitentiary. I was on a podcast called Worthy People, one of the number one podcasts in the penitentiary. And he said, like, everybody, like that body, he telling everybody, getting people's tablets, like, look, like, go, this is my bro right here, like, listen to him. Like, listen to him. Like, this dude came from where we're at. Look what he's doing out there right now. Like, let him inspire you. I had the privilege to be made a documentary of my life since I've been home. He has my poster on his cubicle, telling everybody, like, hey, he was in close custody for a year. Like, the dude right here. Like, he's just keeping me alive and motivating people with my story, what I'm doing now, as well as motivating him and inspiring him. Because I constantly tell him how great he is. Like, bro, it's unfolding well for me. And I was only been on my journey for a couple of years on this growth journey. You've been on this journey for years. Like, since you was TYC, you've been reading. Like, you've been doing what you've been doing. So all this accumulated energy, when you come home, Ooh, man, life is gonna manifest beautiful for you. So I will always highlight Aaron Davila, man, because he's my Yoda, he's my shepherd that guides me and enlightens me as always, feeling always refreshed after our conversations. I love talking to him every day.
I love that. I think it's very special when you have somebody in your corner to always feed into you positive, positive talk, just to kind of check you and help you along the way. Because there is times that because we are human that we kind of stray away from what we're doing, or we have that fear, kind of kick in or that negative talk come in. So it's awesome to see that you have somebody that you can kind of lean on for that. Now, tell me, is there any way that the community can help amplify the impact that you guys are making right now? And what would it be?
So at this moment, we're creating our website. We about to domain thelawfoundation.com. We're just blessed. People, like I said, people reaching out, want to help us. We have this beautiful lady that reached out to us, an NFL player named Lenny Walls, breaking walls. He used to work he used to be in the Denver Broncos, right? NFL retired player. And he has a nonprofit, and they reached out to us, wanted to collide with us, So his board member is the one that is helping us with our website. So she gave us her whole platform. Like, hey, this is a platform on how to create websites. You can also even offer it to people that y'all offer this. So at the moment, we're getting our website done, and at there would be a tab where you could assist, like donate your time, because we do plan on creating a volunteer system or we do once a month. We'll go out there to do anything good for the community, whether it be feeding the homeless, whether it be cleaning up, or just giving away clothes, or just going to events as a whole, supporting others. And so you can just tap in right there to the volunteer section. And we'll also have a tab where people could become mentors. They could apply themselves to become mentors and give back to the youth. Right now, we have a solid concrete team that's well needed, but we do have big visions of expanding and allowing new openings to come because we're making a way for people. Like, it's beautiful because some people that are doing wrong, they now reaching out saying, hey, I want to get involved. I want to be a mentor. I always wanted to be a mentor. So it's like we're making a way for people that want to do better, that want to leave that image away and become that positive image that want to get back. So we have a lot of people that want to reach out as well as help us. So we're going to apply to become mentors, and we're going to interview them because we want people to be a part of this team that is that reflection, that will be that example, to that youth, as well as just getting to know them. So people are going to be able to become mentors, expanding our team, and if they want to volunteer to become a mentor, uh, hey, we're all on social media platforms, the Law Foundation on Facebook, on Instagram. We're finna make a YouTube channel. It's just expanding, like I said, we're just barely established, and I'm so glad that we're not established fully, but we're established. We got that team, and I just always want to highlight my team because they're so powerful and so beautiful, and tomorrow is actually our first team meeting, and we're going to be taking a professional headshots for our website as well as a group picture. So, that's coming. And, yeah, there's many ways it's going to be open, man. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to hear about this L.A.W Foundation. We only been established for 7 weeks, and on our MySpace, our Facebook, we're already up to 3K followers. Like, it's getting there. Like, and it's just constantly like friend requests. So it's like it's not stagnant over here. Like, we're constantly increasing daily and daily and daily messages. Like, people want to help, partnerships, and it's just like, okay, we're gonna capitalize on all this when we get all the way organized and sculptured, and these opportunities are gonna be capitalized on for sure. But I'm pretty sure people are gonna hear about this law, and there's gonna be many ways to get involved for sure.
That's That's so amazing. I swear I love hearing everything that you guys going on. Your all's mission is amazing. I think when you speak about your team, when you speak about the youth that you guys have that y'all are mentoring, like everything sounds so beautiful and so promising. And I can literally envision your foundation just I mean, branching off into many things, right? Many positive things. And so I can't wait to see how y'all's journey continues and how everything unfolds for you guys. You guys always have the support from me and from everybody on our side.
Yeah.
And again, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing your experience and sharing your nonprofit with everybody. I'm going to have all the links down below for everybody so they can get in direct contact with you. Is there anything else that you would like to let anybody know? Anything that you have up and coming for the foundation?
Yes. So I've had the blessing that Foss Bank already reached out to us, wanting to have a charity event with us. You know, they heard about our missions and they seen us on social media, and so we definitely have a charity event coming soon. And just recently, just last week, I went to a seminar, and you know the owner of it was like he was amazed that I was there. You know, he was like, hey, I seen the work you're doing. I seen what you got going on. We're offering this to you, like, you know, a big beautiful venue. And he's all like, hey, whenever you want to have events, you know, let us know. Like, we'll collide, we'll do things, like, you know, we want to help the youth. Like, this is your mission is necessary, like it's important, like we need to break your generation curses. So we definitely, like, you know, I've been stacking up on my cards. I've been going to so much events, getting them contacts, you know, getting them contacts, letting them know, like, would you want to be interested in coming to our future community events? So I'm getting my cards up, I'm getting my vendors and my resources up. So in the future, we're gonna have our future event, our charity event, and the Foss Bank, they're willing to donate gear, food, the Spurs taco truck, as well as the Coyote to come out and just offer free, like, you know, off the blessing. So we definitely that we're connected with the lowrider car clubs. So many of them, like I got introduced to them the other day, and you know we're gonna have them out there. I'm telling you, we're gonna have so much people. I did a podcast with Puro Pedro. They want a DJ. Like, it's just like so many people that I've met are just want to help. And for the future, when it all comes together, we plan on throwing some community events and bringing resources to our community, as well as bringing the law. You know, bringing in what we got going on, the mission, as well as anybody else, any other organizations that's willing to come and set up and give your resources to the community. For
That's
sure.
so awesome. I can't wait for all of that to unfold. And
Yeah,
thank you so much for sharing your story, Chris. And I hope to hear from all the amazing more things that are up and coming for you guys.
for sure. And I thank you for the opportunity as well to have me on your show.